Hey everyone, how's it going? So last time we made a post request to the server and made sure it worked, but what we're going to do now is just update this a little bit so that we actually pass the ID through, because at the moment we're not specifying which post to update, and then we'll go ahead and make a start on the implementation of the actual liking logic. So what we'll do is just add to this URL. Now we're going to add a post ID to here, so what we can do is just change these double quotes to backticks so that we can inject a JavaScript variable into it. And then we'll just say slash, and then put your post ID in there. And the post ID we know is this one. So post ID is the variable we have. And then do a forward slash and just do like as well. So when we do a put request to this address, we're going to add or remove the like. So then we just need to go back to posts.js, which is our API file, and then update this path right here. It's not going to be the root anymore. It's going to be colon and then ID. And then forward slash, and then like. And that will be hit with this request, because we've got a post ID and we've got a like. Now, this one right here is the placeholder, or the variable name, or whatever you want to call it, for the ID value, right? This could be called anything you want. You could name this post ID, you can name it anything you want. How you name it here is just how you refer to it in your code, okay? But we're going to use ID. And then what I'll do is create a new line in there, and let's write some code. So first, let's go ahead and console.log the ID just to make sure we have it. And we retrieve the ID from the URL using rec for request .params .id. And of course, this right here is just whatever you called it there. So if you called it post ID, this should be rec.params.postid. So let's log this and make sure we do have that value. So it's a server change, so we have to restart the server. I'll refresh the page, and I'm going to log in again, and I'll press like, and this still says Yahoo, we didn't change that, but we should see a post ID now. So this successfully retrieved the ID from the parameters. Okay, great, so I'll copy this, and we'll get rid of the console.log. We know that works now. So let's put it into a variable ourselves. Let's say post ID equals, and then do that, just so we don't have to keep saying rec.params.id every time we want to use it. Now, we also want the user ID, because we want to know which user has liked it. So let's say user ID equals, and then we can get this from the request.session.user._id. Because remember, the logged in user is stored in this user property of the session. Okay, so now what we need to do is decide whether we're going to like it or whether we're going to unlike it. Now, there's a simple way of doing that. All we're going to do is check the user object, this one right here, to see if this post ID exists in their likes. If you remember, I said that the user schema now has a likes array, and it's going to keep track of all the posts that this user has liked. So all we need to do is look in that array and see if the post ID we currently have exists in there. If it does exist in there, we're obviously unliking it. If it's not there, it's a like. It's a new like, I should say. So let's just say var is liked equals rec.session.user, and then just get their likes. But we're going to check if they actually have a likes array there, because if they've never liked anything, this might not even be there, this likes field. So let's just make sure that they do have a likes value. So let's just say rec.session.user.likes, and then what I'll do is copy that whole thing, and I'll just say and then do it like this, and then just say .includes, and I'll explain this in a second. Just put post ID in there. So what we're doing now is we're basically just checking if the post ID exists in their likes, but we want to make sure they actually have their likes first. Now, if they don't have a likes array in the user object, it will just exit on this one and it won't try and do this one. If we just simply tried to access this directly without doing the check, it would give us an error if the likes array didn't exist. So that's why we're doing the check first. So we're just making sure the likes array is actually there. Okay, so now this will contain true or false based on whether the post ID exists in their likes or not. So it's basically if they've liked the post already. So let's just make sure this all works before we go any further. What I'll do is I'll just say console.log. I'll say is liked. I'll put a colon, and I'll just add the is liked like that. And it should give us is liked false if we've done it right, because we haven't actually implemented any like logic yet. So there's no way we could have liked something already. So let me just log in and press the like button, and we should see is liked false. Great. I just wanted to make sure that we weren't seeing any errors from the code we've written already. So next what we need to do is insert user like, and then after that we need to insert post like. So this is what I was talking about, how we got two likes arrays, one in the user schema for likes there, and then we've got another one in the post schema which keeps track of all the users that have liked them. So we have two arrays we need to update, okay? But we'll do that in the next video.